everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. And today we're diving into a story that, well, honestly, it's a bit of a shocker.
Yeah, this one's pretty unsettling to say the least.
We're talking about Bybit.
A major cryptocurrency exchange?
And a hack that, well, it sent shockwaves through the entire crypto world.
It's not just about the amount of money stolen, though. That's definitely eye-popping. Don't get me wrong, we're talking nearly $1.5 billion in Ethereum here.
1.5 billion with a B.
Right. But it's also how the hackers managed to do it. They got into a system that's supposed to be basically unhackable, a multi-signature cold wallet.
Okay, so before we get too far into this, can you just back up for a second and explain what a multi-signature cold wallet is?
Right.
I mean, for listeners who might not be familiar with all the technical jargon.
Sure thing. So think of a multi-signature cold wallet, kind of like a bank vault with multiple locks on it.
Okay, I'm with you.
And each lock needs a different key to open it.
Right.
So in this case, each key is held by a different person. And you need multiple people to sign off on any transaction before any funds can be moved.
So it's like a system of checks and balances.
Exactly. It's designed to make it extremely difficult for any one person to compromise the security of the wallet.
So it's like Fort Knox for crypto.
Pretty much. But the thing is, even Fort Knox has its weaknesses.
And in this case, the hackers found a way in. How is that even possible? I mean, if it's so secure.
Well, they didn't brute force their way in, if that's what you're thinking. They didn't break the locks, so to speak. Instead, they exploited a vulnerability in human understanding. Let's just say they tricked the key holders.
Tricked them.
Yeah, they disguised a transaction to make it look like something routine, something totally harmless.
So the people who had the keys, they didn't even realize what they were authorizing.
That's the scary part. They thought they were just changing the locks on the vault, so to speak. Not opening it up and letting someone drain all the funds.
Wow. Okay, so how did they actually do that? I mean, technically speaking.
They manipulated the smart contract.
The smart contract.
Right, the code that governs the wallet. They found a way to redirect the funds without setting off any alarms.
So they basically hacked the humans,
Yeah.
not the technology itself.
That's a good way to put it. And that's what makes this hack so alarming. It shows that even with all the fancy tech in the world, human error can still be a major weak point.
Absolutely. And that human element came into play on February 21st, 2025, when Zach XBT, an on-chain sleuth, he's kind of famous for uncovering crypto crime. Well, he flagged some suspicious withdrawals from Bybit.
He's like the Sherlock Holmes of the blockchain.
Right. It's like he saw the digital fingerprints of the heist happening in real time.
And once he raised those red flags, things started unraveling pretty quickly.
So Ben Zhu, Bybit's CEO,
Yeah.
he had to come out and confirm the breach, right?
Yep. He admitted that their supposedly ultra-secure ETH cold wallet had been completely drained.
We're talking nearly $1.5 billion vanished. Just like that. Poof, gone.
And to put that into perspective, that's more than half of all the cryptocurrency that was stolen in all of 2024.
This wasn't just a small little blip on the radar. This was a massive earthquake, shaking the foundations of crypto security.
Absolutely. And the aftermath was like something out of a spy movie.
Oh, yeah.
The hackers clearly knew what they were doing. They immediately started covering their tracks. They swapped the stolen ETH for other tokens on decentralized exchanges. And then they scattered the funds across tons of different addresses.
So they're trying to make the money disappear in a digital cloud of smoke.
Exactly. But Zach XBT, he wasn't about to let them get away with it that easily.
What did he do?
He published a list of all those addresses where the stolen funds had been moved to
And where did he publish it?
on his Telegram channel.
So he basically turned the whole crypto community into a posse on the hunt for this stolen money.
Pretty much. It was a brilliant move because now exchanges and trading platforms could blacklist those addresses, making it way harder for the hackers to cash out or move the funds around.
So while Bybit was scrambling to, contain the damage and reassure their users that their other cold wallets were safe, this hack sent shockwaves through the entire crypto space.
Yeah. If a system as supposedly secure as a multi-signature cold wallet can be hacked, like this, what does that mean for the future of digital assets?
It's a big question, and it's one that we're going to be grappling with as we continue our deep dive.
Welcome back. So before we jump into, preventative measures or best practices or anything like that, I think it's important to really understand how they did it, how the hackers pulled this whole thing off.
Yeah, I mean, we know they swapped the ETH for other tokens on decentralized exchanges and then scattered it across a bunch of different addresses. But why would they do that? What's the logic there?
Right. So decentralized exchanges, or DXs for short, They're basically like peer-to-peer marketplaces for trading cryptocurrency.
Okay.
And unlike those big centralized exchanges, DXs don't have those same strict, your customer requirements.
Yeah.
KYC.
So it's easier to stay anonymous.
Exactly. And that makes them very attractive to anyone who wants to operate under the radar, including criminals, unfortunately.
Right. So by swapping the ETH on DEXs, the hackers were basically trying to cover their tracks, make it harder to trace where the funds came from.
It's like money laundering, but in the digital world.
And then splitting the assets across multiple addresses. That's like creating even more layers of obfuscation.
Right.
Like trying to make it impossible to follow the money trail.
Exactly. Like scattering puzzle pieces across a giant digital landscape. But Zach XBT publishing those addresses, that really threw a wrench in their plans.
Yeah, because even though you can't really stop someone from moving crypto that they control, putting a spotlight on those addresses, that made them radioactive.
Exactly. It made it much riskier and way more expensive to try and cash out or even use those funds.
Like putting up a wanted poster with their digital fingerprints on it.
Right. No one wants to touch those assets now. They've become hot potatoes.
Okay, that makes sense. But this whole thing really raises questions about multi-signature wallets in general.
Yeah.
I mean, if a system that needs multiple approvals can be compromised like this, what does that say about the security of crypto as a whole?
Yeah, it's a valid concern for sure. And I think this hack serves as a stark reminder that technology alone is not enough.
Right.
Even the most robust security systems, they can be bypassed if the human element isn't addressed properly.
Because in this case, it wasn't a flaw in the technology that the attackers exploited. It was a gap in understanding.
Exactly. It's not just about having multiple locks on the vault.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that everyone who holds a key understands exactly what they're doing and what the potential consequences are.
No more blindly rubber stamping things.
Exactly. Especially not in a space like crypto where things are so complex and the risks can be so high.
So this Bybit hack has been a major wake-up call for the entire crypto industry.
Right, absolutely. It exposed vulnerabilities, it highlighted the importance of human factors in security, and it's raised questions that we all need to be taking very seriously.
Okay, so then what steps can exchanges and individuals take to protect their digital assets in the future?
Well, for exchanges, I think this incident really underscores the need for much more rigorous security audits. And not just of the technology, but of the processes and the human elements involved.
So basically checking for weak links in the chain.
Exactly.
Right.
They need to make sure that every single person who has access to sensitive systems understands the risks and vulnerabilities.
And knows how to avoid making mistakes.
Right. They need to be investing in ongoing training and education for their employees. They need to have really robust systems for monitoring transactions and detecting any suspicious activity right away.
Like having a super vigilant and knowledgeable security guard watching over everything.
Exactly. Now, for individuals, it's important to remember that security is a shared responsibility.
Okay, so what can we do?
Well, first of all, choose reputable exchanges.
Exchanges with a good track record.
Right? Ones that are known for their security and transparency. Don't be tempted by platforms that offer crazy high returns or promise to make you rich quickly, If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Right, do your research. Choose wisely. What else?
Enable two-factor authentication on all of your accounts. And I mean all of them, not just your crypto exchanges.
Two-factor authentication. That's a must.
It is. It adds an extra layer of protection by requiring you to enter a unique code from your phone or email in addition to your password.
Right. So even if someone steals your password, they still can't get into your account.
Exactly. And it's so easy to set up. Takes just a few minutes.
Definitely worth it.
Okay, what else? Be really, really careful about phishing attempts.
Phishing.
Yeah, those scams where attackers trying to trick you into revealing sensitive information like your passwords or private keys.
Oh, right. They pretend to be like your bank or a trusted service provider or something.
Exactly. And they try to get you to click on a malicious link or open a dangerous attachment.
So just delete those emails, right?
Exactly. And remember, legitimate companies, they will never ask for your private keys or your passwords over email or text message.
Good point. So if anything looks even remotely suspicious, don't click on anything. Just report it to the company directly.
And finally, never underestimate the power of knowledge. The more you know about how cryptocurrency works, the different types of wallets, the potential security risks, the better you'll be at making informed decisions and protecting yourself from scams and attacks.
So it's all about education.
A big part of it, yeah, the Bybit hack, it was a big shakeup, but it's also sparked a lot of important conversations and a renewed focus on security. which is a good thing.
Yeah, hopefully it leads to a stronger, more secure crypto ecosystem in the long
And
run.
that's the goal.
Okay, so we've spent the last two parts really dissecting this Bybit hack, figuring out how a system that seems so secure could be breached. We talked about how clever these attackers were, but also about how human error played a part in all of this. But now I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about what we can learn from this whole experience. You said earlier that this hack could actually be a catalyst for positive change. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in all the negativity when something like this happens, but crises, they often force us to reevaluate things,
Yeah.
to identify weaknesses and ultimately come out stronger on the other side. And I think this hack, it's exposed some vulnerabilities for sure, but it's also shown us where we need to focus our attention going forward if we want to make things better.
So instead of seeing this as a sign that crypto is inherently insecure, we should look at it as a chance to improve our defenses and build more resilient systems.
Exactly. It's like, think about it. Every time there's a big bank robbery, we don't just give up on banks altogether.
Right.
We figure out what went wrong, we find the security gaps, and then we implement new measures to try and prevent it from happening again. And it should be the same with crypto.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Right.
So what are some specific steps that exchanges and individuals can take to better protect their digital assets moving forward?
Well, for exchanges, it all starts with a really thorough review of their security protocols. And I'm not just talking about the technology here. They need to look at the human factors as well, Are their employees properly trained on cybersecurity best practices? Do they have clear procedures in place for handling sensitive information and authorizing transactions? These are the kinds of questions they need to be asking.
It's like you said before, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And sometimes that weak link isn't a piece of code, it's a person who makes a mistake or falls for a scam.
Exactly. Exchanges need to invest in ongoing training and education for their employees to make sure everyone understands the risks and how to mitigate them. They need to have systems in place to monitor transactions and detect suspicious activity 24/7, like having a really sharp security guard who's always on the lookout.
Okay, that makes sense. What about individuals, though? What can we do to protect ourselves and our assets in this crazy digital world?
That's a great question. And the good news is there's actually a lot that individuals can do to boost their security. First and foremost, choose reputable exchanges.
Ones with a good track record.
Right. Ones that are known for their security and transparency. Don't fall for those platforms that offer crazy high returns or promise to make you rich quick. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah. If you're going to trust someone with your money, you want to make sure they're taking security as seriously as you are.
Oh.
So what else?
Enable two-factor authentication on all your accounts, not just your crypto exchanges. I mean, everything.
Two-factor authentication. That's a no-brainer.
It should be. It adds an extra layer of protection. By requiring you to enter a unique code from your phone or email along with your password.
So even if someone gets your password, they still can't get in.
Right. It makes it much, much harder. And it's so easy to set up. Seriously, just takes a few minutes.
Definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, any other tips?
Be very wary of phishing attempts. Yeah, those scams where people try to trick you into giving up sensitive information, like your passwords or private keys. They might pretend to be your bank or a company you trust.
Oh, right, so they can steal your information.
Exactly. They'll send you an email or a text message with a link or an attachment, and if you click on it, boom, they can get access to your accounts.
So just delete those messages.
Exactly. And remember, legitimate companies will never ask for your passwords or private keys over email or text.
Good point. So if anything seems fishy, don't click on anything. Just report it to the company.
And finally, never underestimate the power of knowledge. The more you understand about how crypto works, the different types of wallets, the risks involved, the better you'll be at making smart decisions and protecting yourself from scams and attacks.
Knowledge is power.
Right, exactly. And in the crypto world, that power can mean the difference between financial security and losing everything.
So this Bybit hack, it's been a wake-up call for everyone in the industry.
Definitely. A reminder that security is an ongoing thing. It's not a one-time fix. We have to stay vigilant, we have to adapt to new threats, and we have to keep pushing for higher security standards across the board.
Absolutely. So to all our listeners out there, does this hack change how you think about crypto security, and what are you going to do to protect your digital assets going forward?
The future of crypto depends on all of us being committed to security and responsible practices. We can learn from these mistakes and build a more secure and trustworthy digital world together.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe out there in the wild world of crypto.